Welcome, everyone. We're thrilled to have with us today Kris Sarri, the CEO and president of the National Marine Sanctuary Foundation and friend of the planet for almost since the beginning, I think. So we're looking forward to Capitol Hill Oceans Week next Tuesday and wanted to talk to you a little bit about all you have in store there. The theme that you've selected for this year's Capitol Hill Oceans Week is biodiversity. Why did you pick biodiversity this year?
Well, Monica, thank you very much for taking time to talk with me today. And I think I was one of the first Our Daily Planet readers. So thank you for the great publication that you put together online. Why I choose biodiversity? It's actually pretty simple. Healthy people require a healthy planet, and a healthy planet requires a healthy ocean. And healthy ocean requires that we work together to protect the variety of life for the good of everybody that relies on our oceans, from our coastal communities to our heartland communities, from the US to Australia, across the globe. And so we really wanted to focus in on a topic that it was truly important in terms of a discussion that's happening right now on so many different levels. How do we actually do something in order to help protect biodiversity for all of the benefits it provides to all of us?
Great. Thank you so much, Kris. And I have a question for you. So, sticking with the challenges facing the ocean, a recent study argued that we're completely underestimating the amount of microplastics in the ocean. Why are plastics such a big problem for ocean health and for our own as well?
Yeah, I saw that study. And what I think was truly amazing was what they did was they changed the net size. And so they could start realizing that the microplastics that they're finding in ocean are much smaller than we thought. And that is leading to a much greater volume of microplastics overall. And I think the problem here is when the microplastics are small ones, it's easier, more accessible to get it earlier into the food chain. So what we're seeing is that animals at all sorts of different levels are now getting plastics into their system. And of course, as you kind of move up the food chain to where we sit, one of the top predators, that all bioaccumulates. So it's not good for the ocean. It's a big concern for public health. I think we're still learning the impacts that it's having on species across the board. I mean, I think we see the very visible ones, which are really jarring, which is when whales are dying and they are opened up and you see all sorts of plastics, or the same with seabirds. But with these microplastics and them becoming so pervasive in the environment, I think we need a lot more research into understanding how is it going to affect the whole marine food chain, and then ultimately how is it going to affect us as humans as we eat more seafood, and that also accumulates in our bodies as well.
Turning to a different issue that's equally challenging, another enormous problem for the health of the oceans are the impacts of climate change on the ocean and on ocean resources, things like coral bleaching and the loss of marine biodiversity and the shifting of marine biodiversity into new areas where it hadn't been found before. How are the nation's marine sanctuaries addressing this issue, and how are you doing it at the foundation? And what can we learn from what you're doing on climate change?
I mean, climate change, overfishing, loss of habitat are some of the major issues facing our oceans today. And we really do need to address the climate change issue in particular. The one thing that with National Marine Sanctuaries, because these are established protected areas, they actually help provide a long-term record in terms of understanding how climate change is impacting oceans, how it's impacting marine habitats and wildlife. So they're very good in some way living laboratory for us to understand that as the climate changes, how is it changing the ocean? They're also really good outdoor classrooms. We can see what's taking place with climate change, and we can use it as a way to truly teach people that these are the impacts, these are the things that we're seeing, this is how it's shifting and changing the environment. So they're very helpful in terms of actually helping people understand what we talk about sometimes in the very theoretical, what's actually physically happening to the planet as well. At the foundation, we're working very closely with the Office of National Marine Sanctuaries. They're a great partner of ours, as well as all of NOAA, to try to figure out how do we try to help protect these ecosystems so they can adapt to climate change. And then also, are there things we can do to help them both be more resilient, but also help communities be more resilient as well. So one example I want to bring everybody's attention to is earlier this year, NOAA launched 7 iconic reefs in the Florida Keys. That reef is in tremendous level of stress from a wide variety of issues. And so what the program is there is really trying to say, can we look at 7 reefs? Can we intensely work on restoration of these areas as a way to see if we can build back up the whole ecology of that reef, and then actually slowly build out the whole reef restoration efforts. They're great test beds where we can really try to figure out what can we do as stewards of this very important environment to make a difference, to help actually improve the biodiversity and improve the habitat for species, as well as actually help the communities that are on land that depend on these resources, take care of them and also benefit from those processes.
Chris, I wanted to ask, this year's Capitol Hill Oceans Week has had to become completely virtual and is only one day. Yet at the same time, you've had your largest attendance ever, your registration. So what do you think that says about ocean conservation?
I think it says very good things. So the one thing that we value as an organization about CHOW in particular is that we make it free and open to absolutely everyone. And I think right now in particular, as we're self-quarantined to protect ourselves and protect our neighbors, we're more keenly ever missing nature than before. I miss going to sanctuaries. I miss hearing surf pounding on the shorelines. And so I think what people saw with CHOW is it's a way to engage. It's a way to say, okay, what is it that I can do? I can take some time out of my day to learn about what biodiversity is and why it matters. And then I can figure out what actions I can take as stewards. And so I think the fact that we had to adjust to the restrictions that went in place, and we kind of found new opportunities, which is reaching a much larger, much more diverse audience and being able to bring these topics to people. And so whether you're on the coast or in the heartland, you can participate in whatever time zone is you're participating. So we're actually really excited that June 9th, Capitol Hill Ocean Day, can really be a gathering of people that care about our oceans to network with each other. And you truly will be able to network with each other on this virtual platform, and then share what they think they can do to actually help us conserve biodiversity.
I wonder if you could talk about how you and the foundation are working to bring more diverse voices and more diverse communities to the foundation, or to sanctuaries, into the ocean, and helping to conserve the ocean. I know that matters a lot to you, and it matters a lot to all of us.
So Monica, thanks for the question, because I think I've had a really hard time trying to put into words everything I've experienced over the last week. Is I kind of watch peaceful protesters take to the street to express the importance of addressing racism and injustice in our country. It, of course, I think makes us all question, what is it that we can do? And what is it that the organizations that you're working with can do? And there is a quote that Michelle Obama had that said, she was talking about the racism and injustice. She said, it's up to all of us, no matter how well-meaning we think we might be, to do the honest, uncomfortable work of rooting it out. And I truly believe that. So there's a couple of actions, and I don't have the answers for all the things that we can do as the foundation, and how we can make people, make sanctuaries more accessible to people. But I know the first thing we want to do is, starting with CHOW 2021, we want it to be a discussion about diversity, inclusion, and equity in the marine and Great Lakes community. So I'm really hoping a number of our partners will join with us in terms of having that very important dialogue. We're not doing enough. We need to do a lot more to welcome people to national marine sanctuaries, make sure that they can engage in the programs that we provide. And so that's the commitment that I have, is to make sure I'm trying to do much more to have diverse voices in the work that we do, and to make sure that those voices are heard, those people are seen in our community and in our work.
Thank you for that, Kris. I really appreciate it, because I know it comes from the heart, and I know that it's hard to get people into sanctuaries because they're out in the ocean.
So with this virtual platform, what you're mentioning is very true. It's very hard to get people to sanctuaries. So we tried to do as much as with CHOW to get sanctuaries to people this year. So there's a couple of things I do want to mention to people. On the CHOW website, you'll be actually able to go do virtual tours of every single sanctuary and many of the marine monuments, so people can get a better understanding of that. The other thing we really wanted to do was, we recognize that there's a lot of parents who are trying to take care of children as they also try to do their own work. We have the conference, but on our website, we actually made a youth CHOW. And the programs that we have on Youth CHOW follow what's going on in the conference. So it's an opportunity for, at the end of the day, for the whole to come together and talk about kind of marine biodiversity issues and what's important to them.
That's awesome, Kris. What
Yeah.
a great idea. Thank you again so much for taking the time today and for all the work you put into making CHOW an incredible event.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.